I find such a connection between the time I carve out for quiet walks through graveyards and the ritual of pulling tarot cards. I try to make time for tarot because for me it's a moment to slow down my brain and look at something through a new lens. So much of my time is spent researching history and visiting cemeteries, more or less thinking about death or events of the past or people who are no longer with us, which may seem a little bit morbid. The Death Tarot card is sometimes misunderstood. At its core, it's about positive change. Of course, change can always be hard, but it's really a message to let go of what's no longer working in your life, to make room for what's better suited for you. The Death card remains one of my favorite cards of transformation to see in a spread. In some ways, it brings me similar peace to the quiet moments walking around a cemetery, an acknowledgement that we are all fragile and impermanent, but as I research the stories of those buried, I see the significance of our existence and how meaningful every single person is. I know this is a bit of an abstract video, but I wanted to share some of my recent meditations on acceptance and trying to focus on what's important as much as I can while I still can. It absolutely blows my mind sometimes to be in one of New York City's great cemeteries and to be utterly and completely alone. And I know that just over there, just over a fence, is a city bus and thousands of people and apartments and shops. But right where I am, right in my direct proximity, I'm totally alone. And I think tarot is like that too. It's all about what you bring to it and finding peace and solitude in your journey and acceptance and validation and all of those other things as well. Our view on something really boils down to the energy that we bring to it. Not in a metaphysical sense, but in terms of what we focus on and the lens that we see it through. And I think both tarot and cemeteries and the history of cemeteries have been both really great ways for me to find peace and confidence and solitude in a really strange but lovely way. I recently set out to find the graves of my ancestors who are buried at Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. We had the plot numbers and a map to one of the graves, which we were able to find really quickly, especially considering how large the cemetery is. Greenwood does a great job at providing information and maps to visitors, and they certainly helped me and my family a lot during this journey. There is another plot, which we do have the plot number for Greenwood, but unfortunately, it's not on any of Greenwood's maps. We do have a handwritten note that the cemetery found for us with burial instructions from the 1960s. The hunt still continues for the second plot, but it's been really cool to have a familial connection to one of my favorite places in New York City.